A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jeriel Cabrera. Happy to see you joining us for political conversations this very day. Conversations that I hope will build this country as we progress with William Ruto's administration. I'm joined by Herman Manyora, who gives us straight up and biasly in a straightforward manner. How are you doing?
Good.
Look, the conversation for today is about Atwoli. Even as Africa is in Kenya, you know, we talk about climate change too. We'll talk about that later. But Atwoli, County Secretary General versus Raila Odinga. Raila says he has stopped playing the role of the watchdog as he's supposed to for the people that are working in this country, and has gone to the political class, joining William Ruto's administration. Is he supposed to be fighting the fight that Raila is fighting out in the streets? Because Raila says he's the one who's supposed to call people to protest, but he's with the political class. Is Atwoli failing his mandate?
Well, I don't know. What Raila is saying is perhaps what is playing out in Nigeria today. I think today and something, workers are on strike because of high cost of living. So it is possible. But you see, it depends on how you look at this thing. Raila is agitating for something. He feels his election was stolen. But he's also saying the cost of living is too high for the people. And he has called people out into the streets, and now they are discussing with government. So he feels this is a war that Atwoli should be fighting. Atwoli, on the other hand, argues that as a union leader, he cannot afford to fight government because trade union affairs are on a tripartite basis. So we have the employer on one hand, then we have the government on the other hand, and the trade unions. You can't achieve anything outside this three-legged stool, the tripartite arrangement, where government, employers, and the workers.
Okay.
You see? So no trade union leader can afford to be so antagonistic. It was tried out in Britain at a great cost to trade unions, because Margaret Thatcher put her foot down, and the trade unions have never recovered from that up to date. So it depends on how you look at it, because Atwoli argues, well, I as a leader of the trade unions in this country, I would love to work with the government to achieve for my workers.
But I want to know, it's one thing to work with the government, but it's another to appear in rallies, in this development tours, to go where the president is, especially remembering that he was the one shouting to cut a miti. What does this portray about him, though?
But you see, trade unions, again, people must understand, trade unions have been at the forefront of political struggles across the world, certainly in South Africa, together with the ANC. They fought hand in hand together. Lech Walesa in Poland, of the Solidarity Movement in Poland, and many others. In this country, we have Tom Mboya, Dennis Akumu, Clement Lubembe, who are not just leaders of the trade union, Malket Singh, who are not just trade union leaders. They are also people at the far front for the struggle of independence in this country. And among the first politicians. You know, you remember Tom Mboya, you may be young.
Yes.
So it is true that you cannot separate trade union politics from the national politics. Sometimes they're almost one and the same. But again, there are those who may argue, well, today Atwoli is with Ruto, government for that matter, in the rallies. But the same Atwoli was also with Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga last year. So it's a zero-sum game.
So he was still in government?
It's a zero-sum game.
Okay.
But naturally, Raila will feel what he's feeling. I think, to be honest, if you were to ask me, I think Raila is just not bitter, but he finds it difficult to believe that Atwoli can do what he's doing, having been so close to him, not just related, but so close to him, especially in the last election. You'll feel hurt.
Yeah, that's
if you are in a Raila's
shoes. He was going, this shemeji of mine is Shenzi sana at the same time.
So, and he's hurt. You know, there's nothing worse than betrayal. There is nothing worse than trust. Atwoli was so high up in the hierarchy of the Azimio campaign. You all know it.
Yeah.
And a lot of meetings took place at his residence in Kajiado. So it's natural for Raila to feel very hurt. I understand that.
Then I would ask you, if you say it's very difficult to remove the trade unions out of politics,
Yes.
what then should be Atwoli's role if Raila feels that these elections were rigged? Should he be the first one to call out the president and Raila and mediate the two of them? Is this
That will be a high calling. That will be the highest possible. But we are all human beings and we have all weaknesses. We have our own interests. I thought you were going to ask him what should he do, because now the president has been sworn in. There's very little Atwoli can do about Ruto being president. He has to work with him. Even if inside him he believes he didn't win, he will still have to work with him. Not as Atwoli, but as the Secretary General of Court. There's very little else he can do. So that if people are fighting to remove the government in power, and you as Atwoli, you need to work with that government to pursue the interest of the trade union movement, or the trade union people you support and workers. You cannot join them in the streets. It will be very difficult.
But you see, there's also this other angle, because you say it's difficult, but then he stands in the podium, tells Raila that you want your people to live in denial.
Yes.
Then this means he has actually accepted that Ruto won, and he believes Raila is at fault at this particular point.
You know, this is politics. Atwoli has his own interests. He didn't just join Ruto like that. He must have calculated. Other than the trade union angle, there must be also a personal angle. He has calculated and said, well, I'm better off first certainly as a trade union leader. But secondly, even as a human being, as Atwoli. And maybe from my own assessment, I believe Ruto won. We lost. He says it. Maybe he believes it. Maybe he's playing politics like everybody else. And you can't really blame any of these people. You can't blame Raila for feeling the way he's feeling. You can't blame Ruto and Atwoli for behaving the way he's behaving and talking the way he's talking. Except if I were to advise him, and I'm looking for him, I'll have to advise him because he's my friend. Atwoli is my brother, you know.
Yes.
My advice would be, it would have been ideal for him to bring the two people together. He has the clout. He has the stature to mediate between the two. But if that is not possible because he's so openly on one side, because you cannot mediate if you are openly on one side, that rules you out. What then I would advise would be the natural thing to do, which is support the president and say all the good things about the president, but go slow on Uhuru and Raila. That's what I would advise you.
Go slow.
Go slow on them. In fact, ideally, ignore that side. Focus where you are. Focus on Ruto's government and help the government to deliver. As you support government, always try and mainstream. Anchor your support on the interest of the workers. Then Raila will not say what he said in Narok. Because in Narok, Raila says, even in my place in Viga, by the way, that was my village, next to Lumbe, Kab Chemgum. You know, when I tell people we are Kalenjin, people ask him, you people, you are Kalenjin here? Yes, we are Kalenjin, we are Luya, we are many things. Raila said Atwoli should be on the forefront of the struggle for workers, including being the one doing what Raila Odinga is doing, taking people to the streets. He repeated the following day from Narok, and now used even more bitter words, which I will ask the two. On that occasion, I was not given a chance to speak. The people who would have done it didn't give me. Small boys, you know, feeling threatened. Very useless boys. I would have told them to reduce also that between them. They are mature people. At their level, they should have less of using names. Let's leave names to Malala and these are the small boys. But for them, they should go beyond calling each other names. It's not good.
Then I would want to know, because Raila comes out, accuses Atwoli of treachery, betraying the workers. From history though, is this the person Atwoli is? Because we've always seen him going with the current regime. Some say this is the reason why he's surviving at his position. Is this the Atwoli that Raila is portraying?
But sometimes I speak for Atwoli not because of anything. Because sometimes with the things you do, not everybody will know. But you can go the Sosion way. Again, a very good friend of mine. When Sosion took on the government head on and took on Uhuru head on, how far did he go? It's not a good thing to do. But governments can behave the way Thatcher behaved. They can call you a bluff So a good trade unionist must know just how hard to punch. Because if you think you have a lot of power and you punch your employer, the employer can even close the company and go home. Yeah. Supposing I have a company in industrial area and you are pushing me and I look, what is all this now? There needs to be some balance, because the employer can also say, okay, I'm folding, utampiga. Just closes his business and going to enjoy his money. So a trade union leader must balance. And I'm giving the example of Margaret Thatcher, how he dealt with the trade unions. And I'm giving you a local example of Sosion and the NAT.
Yeah.
He pushed so hard. The first casualty was NAT itself. It has not recovered. Because then the government looked at you and it allowed other people to compete with you favorably. Even those who, like Kupet, who had been registered earlier,
Kupet.
they are allowed to poach in your line. And then, more seriously, even remittance. Because you rely on the government to collect membership dues. And without that money from membership, a trade union cannot survive. So you see, he was hit. And then, his colleagues in the trade in NAT realized the union was dying because of his hard stance. They went for him.
Yeah.
And so Atwoli may be doing his own thing because he's more experienced than people like Sosion, balancing.
Give and take.
But I would advise him, it's not enough to do things underground. You must also make people see what you are doing. For example, during COVID, I was present when some of those things Atwoli was doing. One of the meeting was actually in his home, and I was there in Kajiado, where there was he together with the government, Atwoli ensured that because of COVID, even though companies were closing down, he assured the interests of the workers was taken. Where people had to close like hotels, there was an undertaking pushed by a court to Atwoli that when you reopen, don't reopen with new people. You must reopen with the same people. There were areas where you say, okay, let's make half salaries better than nothing. Let's reduce the staff. But when they come back, like this one which they were signing, was when they come back, they will get the money they had not been earning, but in arrears, slowly, kidogo. You see, this was pushed by Atwoli. But I will only advise him, some of the things you do, you must also make people know. That's why communication is important. Uhuru did so much, but he had poor communication. I'm seeing the same with Ruto now. If he doesn't handle his communication well, you can say you are doing all these things, but people will not. So Atwoli should communicate more what he's doing and do more. I've already told you what Atwoli should do is to anchor his support and base his support on the interest of the workers.
Let me just go then back to Raila too. If Atwoli was to stick with Raila, protest together with Raila,
yes,
would he be at the position he is right now at Koti? Could that position have been threatened?
It is possible. It is possible. This is politics. This is a political seat. Unaweza kudenguliwa. It's a political seat. That's why I said earlier, even your own personal interest and survival. But again is, how much would Koti and the trade unions in Kenya in general gain and benefit if Atwoli was in the streets with Raila? I know of a few things they have been able to gain.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying he should be able to speak about the things he's doing so that people know he's doing. Even during Uhuru's time, people were saying he was just making noises with Uhuru and Raila, he was not working. But I'm telling you, there is evidence of work.
Yeah.
He should build his communication department for people to see. And even now, there are things he's doing. But if he was not with government, he was not working together with government, he was in the streets with Raila, a lot of those things would not be achieved.
With the headliners in government.
But Raila is also doing the right thing. Raila is also doing well.
Playing the opposition part.
Yeah, and pushing Atwoli, telling Atwoli, no, you should be with me on this side because we are with the workers. So both of them are doing their thing. But there's need to balance. Raila is a politician. He's just fight with Atwoli the way he wants.
Yeah.
And his office, Atwoli says Raila has no office. Raila does not need an office. His office is superordinate, too big you cannot squeeze Raila in some corner of a place. This is your office.
And that was what Atwoli was saying. He's looking for an office for Raila.
Raila is bigger than an office. Nobody has a big office in this country than Raila, not even Ruto. Yeah, not even Ruto.
Not even the president.
No, and the president knows it. One man can force you to go to Bomas and talk. One man can close the country. For 3 days, nothing's happening. That man is powerful. he's justified to push Atwoli in the interest of the workers. So Raila is a politician, is doing the right thing. But Atwoli must not answer Raila back. Because Raila is a politician. And a politician can say this and turn tomorrow. Then they leave you in the middle of the road. So if I advise Atwoli, minimize your altercations with Raila. Don't try to hit Raila. Don't even answer back. Do your thing. Because hitting Raila back, you are the one who will lose. Because he's a politician.
Yeah.
He's gifted in, he can embarrass you. He can just say one thing and he leaves you people laughing at you. So I'll ask Atwoli, do not engage Raila in terms of pushing each other. You push the government agenda, but also push the workers' agenda. Let Raila speak. He's a politician. Don't answer him. He's a politician.
Okay.
And he's your brother-in-law. Mnakutana mnakunya sana naambia lakini Raila mbona ulikuwa unanichapa hivi?
Yeah.
Lakini mimi naogopa. Najua ni mwanasiasa. So that is my advice to them is to be mature and to do their thing. Advice Ruto continues, Atwoli continues supporting government. Government requires support. A trade union movement cannot survive when it's very antagonistic. I've explained how, I've given examples.
Yes.
Support government, work with government. Mainstream the interest of workers. Advise Raila, keep pushing for the people of this country, including workers. Keep going for Atwoli until he doesn't forget his workers. But finally, the two of you are mature people. You are old people. And a mashemegi. Also, have some measured attack. You can attack, but some measured attack, knowing you are punching your brother-in-law. But I leave the punching to Raila, not Atwoli.
All right. Well, that is it from our conversation with Herman Manyora. Says Atwoli, communicate, continue fighting, but communicate, leave politics for Raila because he is a politician. Until we do wrap, talk again. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.